What if I... What if... Whoa, I love some Creed. What if I... What if I... Wonder who that can be.
30.
Hey, Brad, what are you doing?
Oh, nothing, man. What are you doing?
You know, just still a little messed up from the theater incident, but I think I'm going to make a full recovery.
Oh, good, man. Well, hey, listen, Chris and I are hanging out at the house, man. You should come hang out with us.
Oh, really?
Some White Claws.
Oh,
yeah, hell yeah.
What kind of White Claws?
All of them, man. I got a watermelon lime.
Oh, a watermelon? That's all you have to say. Like, I'm totally down. I'll be there in 5 minutes.
All right. Sounds like a plan, man. We'll see you soon. We'll get some Creed rolling, man.
Oh, yeah. I've been just screaming out what if for the past 5 minutes.
What if?
What if? Yeah. All right. I'll see you in 5 minutes.
Sounds good, man. Drive safe.
All right. Hey, you too. Whatever. Bye. See.
You're not going anywhere, Bert.
Come on, man, not again. Like, you've already got me twice. Like, what more do you want?
Surprise, Bertie.
Surprise, Bertie.
Welcome to the final act. It's time you came to terms with me.
Who are you?
It's time for the hero and villain to come face to face.
Lifelong fan.
And brother.
Who? Your brother, for crying out loud. Like, why do you get to have the successful YouTube show with your best friend, where me and my best friend, we don't get jack shit? And I'm tired of it. 2 years. I didn't think you'd last 2 months. You're insane. You're psychotic. Come on, man. Really? Your stupid stunts. Your stupid reviews. Oh, slash it out. Oh, that's so cool. Bullshit. Why do you get the success? Why not me? What about me? I don't have a fucking brother. Oh, you have a brother. And he's gonna kill you. What the hell was that, bro? You don't bring a sword to a gunfight. Here's my brother, you son of a bitch. Ah, fuck.
Goodbye, Bertie.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, just hide my face. Nah, just kidding.
What is going on, guys and gals, and welcome to Good Real Hunting. We're here for the Good Real, so you don't have to. It's your boy Brad, the Brett Mancer over there, and welcome back to our Scream review series. We're up to Scream 3 today with our live interactive review. Going to be a lot of fun today, talking about a lot of people's least favorite movie in the franchise, but still very much a solid flick, and one that's going to be fun to talk about, Bertie. We're going to have a good time today.
Well, man, I would say Scream 3 is like the worst. Like, I would say it used to be most people's worst movies, but I think Scream 3 is slowly getting a cult following just a little bit. And people are saying Scream 4 is the worst in this franchise now. But you know what? That's why we're doing these live interactive reviews so they get to freaking decide this once and for all. What is the worst? Is it 3 or is it going to be 4 that we talk about next weekend?
Yeah, dude, we're gonna find out, man. And you know what? We're at the end of this. Obviously, we have the poll up and running now, so be sure to put your vote in for how this movie applies to you. You know, what you think about it. A letter grade for it, A, B, C, or D. And we're gonna find out from the fans, man. We're gonna find out. We're gonna get a fan score for this thing at the end today. It's gonna be a lot of fun from horror fans, for horror fans, what I should say. And it's going to be a fun. It's definitely going to be interesting to see what the people think about this one.
Yeah, man. And just imagine the possibilities, like what if
Oh my goodness.
Oh my god. Guys, I'll be honest with you. I still don't know who that dude is. Like, that's just some crazy fans, but you know what? The authorities took care of him. I'm okay. I'm going to make a full recovery.
Yeah, man, you're doing well, man. I think it's going to be okay.
I wasn't doing very well last night, but I'm doing very well today, man. So, got some good 90s movie flicks in, but I'm ready to talk about some Scream 3. So, Brad, let me say hello to everybody in the chat, and then we'll do our usual spiel and just freaking get started, man.
Sounds good, man. Sounds like a plan. You want to do the Patreon card real quick?
Oh, we can do that real quick. Sure.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Yeah, fuck chat's comment right there. Now I'm messing, man. But anyways, these are our real hunters. These are our patrons, man. Man, look at all these amazing people. They are the official backbone of this channel. They make the channel roll like, rolling down the boat, down the stream, like Brad was rolling down the string in that freaking Halloween 5 skit. But anyways, if y'all want to support this channel being a Patreon, the Patreon link is in the description down below. Click on it, select a tier. Any tier will be just fine, so you all can be a real hunter today.
Right, you are. And of course, if you can't be on Patreon, that's fine. Just being here, liking the video, sharing the video, all that fun stuff helps us out tremendously as we try to hit our goals. So we appreciate each and every one of you.
Absolutely. And of course, if you're watching it right now or if you're watching after fact, tell us what you all think about Scream 3. Let us know in that comment section down below. So let's go and say hello to the chat, and we'll just freaking get started. Chad said earlier, still my favorite of the series. Again, I've been seeing that a lot recently, like with Scream 3, and I think that's amazing. Brother Fluff says, I thought I was watching Shindemark, or whatever you pronounce that freaking name, last night, but it turns out that my power went out for 2 hours. Well, damn, Brother Fluff, hopefully everything is okay, man.
That's what I thought was happening when last time I thought I was watching the Skin and Max.
Oh my
god.
Dude, that could be
whatever.
A poor name right there. But anyways, Ashton, what's going on? Erica Lauren, what's going on? Rosie, my dear, here's your rose. Yo, Adrian, how you doing? We're gonna have a good time talking about Scream 3 today, So what's going on, Adrian James? We got Lamontre, what's going on? Tanis, what's going on, my friend? He hates Scream 3 and he thinks Scream 4 is the best. But hey, you know what? That's awesome, man. Be sure to get your vote in. Chris Snyder, what's going on, my friend? Let's see here. What else do we have here? Oh, and of course, we got Kyle. What's going on, man?
And of course, Kyle's joining us on this Scream review series, as is Chris. You just saw him a minute ago.
Mm-hmm.
Be sure to check out their reviews that dropped today as well. We got a link for that in our description. Kyle from the Return of the Living Flet and Chris doing this Letterboxd reviews as well.
Absolutely. And when Braden gets his reviews out there, we'll be sure to share those as well. And then Adrian James saying, real quick, I don't think I've seen Scream 3. Just in case, we are going to be going to spoiler territory, but I already promised Brad not to do the whole spiel and everything. So I just wanted to go ahead and let you know this is spoiler.
Yes.
All right, let's get to these movie fact cards and then our rotten stuff, and we'll talk about this movie. Scream 3 was released on February the 4th of 2000. IMDb gave this a 5.6 out of 10. Letterboxd gave this a 2.9 out of 5. For most of the votes come in at a 3. The tomato meter, not so kind, 41%. Audience is 38%. Budget $40 million. So big boost in the budget.
Damn.
No, man. Box office $89 million with a global 162 million, which thankfully the global, still great numbers. Director is Wes Craven, and those casts down there.
Yeah, man. Good cast. And, they once again they did a good job of adding in a couple other characters too that are decent. That we'll get to here in a little bit, of course. But man, you could feel the budget from this right in the opening, man. You get that car chase, well, not really a chase, but that car scene with Cotton going down L.A. Shit like that ain't cheap, man. And then obviously you got explosions and shit in this thing. You can feel the budget, man. They actually they spent some money for sure. A lot of sets they built too.
Yeah, absolutely they did. So those are the movie facts. So we'll go ahead and go on with our Rotten Tomato reviews. Me and Brad found some of the best and the worst from this movie. Let's go ahead and go with mine first. Let me remove that banner real quick just in case. This first one, this is a fresh written review from Joe Lidon from Variety. He's a top critic. Good looking dude right there. So I appreciate his comment here. He said, Scream 3 is a crafty and well crafted wrap up that really does bring a satisfying sense of closure to the franchise.
Yeah, dude, it does that.
Absolutely, it does, man. So good man, Joe. And Brad, what about your dude right here?
We got Tom Coates here, man, from BBC.com. He's a top critic without a photo, but he's a good guy because he says, while Scream 3 is only an above-average film in its own right, as the conclusion to the trilogy, it works more effectively than anyone had a right to expect. And this is really everything I feel about this movie. I feel like it is, to me, it's subpar compared to the first two movies. But it does. I mean, it's effective. It does an effective job of bringing the story together and really closing. For the longest time, this was the concluding chapter of this franchise. It was just a 3-movie trilogy for the longest time until Scream 4 came along about 10 years later. So, yeah, I mean, this was the trilogy for a while, and I thought it had a pretty good ending to it. Honestly, I thought it was solid.
Hell yeah, man. Dude, I agree with that, and I can't wait to talk about the third act in this movie, so I totally agree there. But along with some positives, there are, of course, the negatives. And this first one is from asshole named Ted Anthony from the Associated Press, top critic, supposedly, but we'll about to find out how much of a top critic he is. And he said, ultimately, this is the question. How often can you send up the same thing? I'm pretty sure he needs to work on his grammar there. But by a series' third film, you should actually care about characters. It's hard, though, when the odds are that everyone's either a killer or a goner. What the hell is Ted Anthony talking about? Of course we care about our core characters of Sidney Prescott, Dooley Riley, and Gil Weathers, man. That's why we're even watching these Scream movies, is because we care about those 3 characters and we want them to make it out alive.
Yeah, for sure, man. Absolutely.
Yeah, so get the hell out of here, Ted Anthony. Brad, what about your guy? Is he any better?
Keith Phipps, he's an AV Club guy, top critic. He said, virtually none of the craftsmanship of Craven's best is on display here, and what good ideas do turn up are largely recycled from previous efforts. This Scream has been widely marketed as the series' final installment, better late than never. Yeah, again, so for all the reasons I just said on the last one, I just, I kind of disagree with this. I do agree. I mean, well, I agree with it actually, but not the part about the ending, because I thought, again, this was a good way to end things. But yeah, I would agree that again, it's just not as crafty as the first couple movies. So yeah, I mean, I agree with this statement.
All right, so not bad, Keith. You make it around this day, even though it's still rotten. So there is all of that, and let me say hello because I just saw him join in here. Cecil Horn, what's going on, man? He gave it an A, so good man right there, giving it an A. We'll see how everything plays out at the end. So again, be sure to get your votes in.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting.
Yes, sir. So, Brad, let's go ahead and freaking talk about this movie, man, with the freaking opening. We're in the freaking big stage, man, freaking Hollywood.
Dude, yeah, we opened this thing out in Hollywood, man. Cotton's driving around. He's famous now from the events of the second movie. Presumably, we had that Diane Sawyer interview between these movies. He's got his own talk show, 100% Cotton. He's all over the radio. People love him, man. He's got billboards and shit. He gets a call from this gal. This is the introduction, Birdie, of this movie's biggest, I don't know, it's most interesting change of the Ghostface character here. And he, right from the beginning, we don't know this quite yet, but he's got this voice changer that can pretty much imitate anybody's voice.
Oh, I thought Ghostface had a sister.
Yeah, well, it could have been, it could have been another
Oh
killer.
yeah. Oh, he
Yeah.
has a sister.
Yeah, he does. That's true. But yeah, I from the opening though, it makes the movie kind of interesting because again, the killer calls with a female voice talking to Cotton. It's all like, "Oh, hey, you're hot. I love your radio show," and he's kind of flirting back and stuff like that. And then it turns on a dime to killer voice, our classic Ghostface voice. He's like, "Hey, I'm over here with your girlfriend. I'm gonna slay her like a fish if you don't get back over here." Or whatever. So he does this whole fucking thing. He's like, because the Ghostface wants to know where Sydney's at. She's elf in hiding. Cotton knows where she's at, but he ain't telling anybody shit. So he's trying to speed home to save his girlfriend from Ghostface. And yeah, a nice little decent car chase sequence. And again, we like Cotton at this point from the ending of the second movie.
Yeah, man. That's just a bold strategy. Cotton just telling Ghostface that he can go fuck himself. If of course he says wrong answer and hangs up the phone. If and Cotton just again freaking action sequence, man, with the freaking car chase. And I thought all that was cool because it builds that anticipation. Like, is he gonna get home in time and all that? So, man, yeah, and of course we like Cotton. Definitely, I feel like he looks better fit in this movie versus kind of like the little bit of a squirmy guy in the second one. So good for Cotton, man. But his girlfriend, on the other hand, she didn't have very great success, especially when that freaking "What If" came on, man. What if?
She got out of the shower, man. She's over there changing her clothes and stuff. And then, yeah, like you said, Creed comes popping on the radio full blast. And she's like, "Cotton, is that you?" Like he comes home from work on a normal day and just blasts this up full speed and just sits there in the office and kind of reflects his life with Creed. But dude, it's a great sequence when Ghostface shows up there, chases her around a little bit and starts using that voice changer to imitate Cotton's voice. And that's really the first time we really get to see it used effectively, where it's like, yes, is this technology like completely like not real? Yes, it is, but it's fun. It makes this a fun experience throughout the movie, I think. But yeah, he's imitating Cotton's voice, and he's all like, "Hey, come over here, man. I had a rough day. You wouldn't believe what happened to me." And that's when Ghostface pops up and chases her around, and then she locks herself in this room, and he's like, "Oh, I was just playing around, but not really, because I want to slay you," and all this fun stuff, like in the voice of Cotton. So really, it's freaking her out. It's really cool.
Yeah, dude, like it's not bad, like, but I'm kind of like with you on the whole voice changer thing. Like in the 2000s, that technology kind of existing, I just honestly don't believe it yet. Like I'm not
Oh
saying
no,
that that's not a possibility, like we
no,
ever developed such a technology, but definitely not in the 2000s. But you know what?
yeah.
I appreciate it. This is the third film in the franchise. In fact, we gotta start doing something different, something unique, and I will give it credit. This was definitely unique. And man, yeah, so
Yeah, added a new flavor to Ghostface, and I like it when Cotton actually does come home and she's freaked out from him, because of what she actually thought that was Cotton in the Ghostface get up a second ago. So that just adds a new dynamic to it. It really makes you wonder this whole movie from this point on, like when people are talking to each other, not actually seeing them, like if they're actually talking to the person they think they are. So I like that. I think that's kind of cool. And yeah, man, I thought the kill with Cotton at the beginning, obviously he ends up, dying here, trying to save the girlfriend. Girlfriend gets slayed. He gets slayed. Everybody gets slayed here. But it was a good kill, man. He gets stabbed right in the head.
yeah, or he gets freaking swung with a golf club by his own girlfriend at first, and then she
That's true.
gets stabbed
Yes.
with this really weird, horrible scream. Not the not the best scream or the most realistic scream when you get stabbed. But you know what? I've never been stabbed before, so how do I know? But yeah, if then freaking Cotton gets freaking sliced and dies, and then Ghostface is like, "You should just play the game, Cotton. You should just told me where Sydney was. You lose." And this is the first time in the Scream franchise we get the iconic slash where Ghostface is slashing the screen and we get the title card. This was the first movie that did it.
Yeah, and it was cool. It was cool as hell, man. I liked it. I digged it. The only thing I don't like about this opening is the fact that Cotton was killed. And I actually think this is probably worse than killing Randy. Not because Cotton's better than Randy, but because we never got to see the full Cotton. We never got 100% Cotton. Randy had his movie. He had his movie in the
Technically, we
first one.
did get 100% Cotton.
Yes, technically, yes. But you know what I'm saying is we didn't though, because he was a goofball in the second movie. He wasn't in the first movie. We finally get this cool version of him in the beginning of this movie, and it's over in 10 seconds, and that sucks. Randy at least got a full movie, being a fan favorite. He got, he had, even when he got killed in the second movie, he was still in most of it, and he was great in that one too. So, but we never really had that with Cotton. So it sucked to see him die, but it was an effective opening nonetheless.
Yeah, definitely effective, and yeah, I kind of agree. Like, I didn't mind, like, I don't mind Cotton dying, but yeah, I feel like we could have generated something better, with good old Cotton getting more involved in this third one because during this time, this was supposed to be the last movie. So yeah, definitely we should have gave freaking Cotton something to do. Let me get these quick comments real quick. Mud Nelson, Gavin, what's going on, my friend? Saying, I love Scream 3. I don't care about its goofy parts. It definitely has its goofy parts. But yeah, man, I'm with you, man. I still definitely appreciate Scream 3. Leon, what's going on? Hello. And then Chris, I'm gonna save it. I'm gonna start this comment because I want to get back to it. But when we talk about that particular scene, but I do see your cotton there, or did I say cotton? I said cotton instead of comment. Oh my god, we need to move on. So, Brad, after the freaking title card, man, we get freaking Sydney. Even though she's not going by Sydney at this point, she's going by a completely different name. Freaking doing a crisis hotline for females, which I actually really like this because we definitely need to bring more awareness for those crisis, kind of like the phone service of that, because they definitely do not get well enough known and respected.
Yeah, I thought it was a good role for her. It makes sense. Obviously she's been through a lot in the first two movies, so for her to be doing this remote job in this place out in the middle of nowhere, nobody knows where she lives. I think it really was actually a really good decision. I think this is one of the better uses of a returning final girl because it makes sense. I mean that's something that one would do. I think just to get away from it all and to be safe once and for all. And she has a good arc throughout the movie, and it starts with that. But yeah, she's in this remote area, man. She's got a gate, she's got freaking alarm systems and all this stuff. She's as safe can be, I think, at this point. She's got a
Yeah,
dog.
because of a gate. Yeah, I feel really secure with that freaking remote gate or like that secure gate.
It's a good
Unless you
gate.
can jump over it or anything like that.
Oh, you need a
Oh
big
yeah,
gate to get over
sure.
that gate.
Man, I'd rather have a wall, but anyways, but that's for another time. Like I'll describe my wall here, like in a like behind the scene or something like that. But after we get a detail of what's going on with Sydney, we go to our favorite girl, Gail. Everybody loves Gail in this movie, or do they
Oh
love
yeah,
her bangs?
it's the bangs, man. She's in
It's got to
class,
be the
man.
bangs, man.
Those
Here,
things are
I was
killer,
supposed to
dude.
share. I was supposed to wait, but you know what? That's our best picture of it. My God, look at that.
What is going on here, man? Who? Why? What happened, man? They need it like it's a bowl cut from in the front. I mean, it's like I don't know, man. That was not good. That was not
Damn it,
good.
David Arquette. That's all I gotta say. He was the one that suggested the idea that she should get a cut like that. And dadgummit.
Yeah, it
You
wasn't
know,
good. But
guys
he
don't
was
have
trolling her.
fashion advice.
Why are you gonna listen to any fashion advice from David Arquette? If of anybody, like come on, like I love the guy, but he's not somebody that I would take fashion advice from.
No, absolutely not. So let's Rosie. She bangs, she bangs, she moves. Oh man, that's great, Rosie. But yeah, but we get a kind of like a what friggin' Gail Weathers is doing. Nothing much, just trying to spread her wisdom about like being an asshole, that how you get ahead in life and all that. And then we get our introduction to frickin' detective, or as Chris calls him, Detective McDreamy. He is mentioning Patrick Dempsey as freaking Detective Kincaid, man. Mark
Mark.
Kincaid. And I think actually I forgot how good he was in this movie.
Yeah, I actually really enjoy his character. It was who I was referring to. One of the people I was referring to earlier when I said this movie again adds in some good characters. This is one of them, man. I really enjoyed him, and I kind of bummed he never came back in 4 or 5. Maybe it's open for him to come back down the road because he was kind of
Especially
mentioned.
with 5.
Yeah, because he was mentioned in 5, but yeah, man. I think he's great. And he shows up to class and he said, "Hey, man, somebody got slayed. His name was Cotton, your boy, and there was a picture of Maureen Prescott at the crime scene. What? This is getting out of hand. This is getting weird."
Yeah, dude, it's getting so weird. And Gail decides to, or like Kincaid needs Gail to work on that particular case with him. So we get to freaking go to Hollywood. And of course, we get our freaking red right hand freaking playing, jamming. And then we get introduced to some of the other newer casts, like with the director of Roman Bridgers. And then we got the cast playing the cast. Like, it's kind of weird. And then Gail is in, snooping, trying to get some of the deets. And then she runs into, guess what? Our boy, Dewey Riley, David Arquette.
Yeah, dude, he's there. His body double's there. Like, we get to meet everybody's, like you said, everybody's actors that are playing themselves in this movie. Stab 3, actually. We're all here. They start asking questions about, Cotton, and, they're like, hey, he was making a movie called Stab. He was stabbed. That's the relation. So yeah, that was cool, man. Decent little moment from Dewey and Gail together. We find out they've split up because Gail wanted to go off to LA. The exposition part comes later, but she wanted to go off to LA and he didn't want to leave Woodsboro. It's kind of the same thing that we'll get later in Scream 5 as well. They're kind of the same story, just different city. But it was decent seeing them back together again. It doesn't quite hit that same level as Scream 2, like that sequence they have where his music's playing and stuff. But it's still a decent moment.
Now, even though it's kind of funny how like Dude didn't want to leave Woodsboro, and then yet again he leaves Woodsboro.
That's true. He's out again.
So a little bit of a plot flaw right there. But you know what? But we can forgive it because again, we just love Dewey. We love the character of Dewey. And yeah, just not taking any of Gail's shit this time. But man, this is also where we're getting a freaking introduction to a lot of people's favorite character in this movie. They're saying, like, we're talking about how we have a backbone of this channel. This was somewhat, in a way, the backbone of this movie. And that's Parker Posey's character in this movie, playing Gail in Stab 3.
Yeah, she was good, man. I enjoyed her as well. She was just a lot of fun. Her and Gail running off together, doing their things, like they were, going off and investigating shit together. They were great, man. And I actually like that moment in general where all the cast is sitting outside they weren't outside of Stu's house. I think it was the set for Sydney's house.
Yeah,
they were sitting out there, and they had a couple good moments. First off, it would have been better if David Schwimmer came back to reprise the role of Dewey, but nonetheless. That he did not make it. But I like the scene where they were making fun of the fans mad that Randy was killed in the second movie. He's like, oh, he's probably killed by a crazed fan that was mad about the Randy kill. So that was kind of funny because that was actually real. Like everybody was really mad about that in reality. So that was cool. Of course, Gail, she came in there with a camera in her purse. She was trying to record some shit, and Dewey's like, hey, I bought you that purse. So she failed. Gail with the fail.
Excuse me. Yeah, gets all that, and she gets kicked out because, again, no press. Even though, real quickly, Detective Kincaid's partner, I like him in this movie. He brings a comedy charm into it. It's like, why do you think do you think this has anything to do with Stab 3? It was a movie called Stab. He got stabbed. Like, that line always makes me laugh.
Yeah, it does me too. It does me as well. Yeah, man. So Sid, we kind of see a moment with her back with her dad. So that was kind of cool. It cuts back to her at her house. Her dad's there. So it's kind of nice to see him back because he wasn't in Scream 2, really. I don't think at all. So it's kind of nice to see them reunited, kind of go back to the roots. They're hanging out together. They're having a good time. Is he going to be a suspect this time? Let's hope not. Let's hope he doesn't get kidnapped again. So that was kind of cool. She falls asleep again, man. She's really prone to taking naps. She did this in the first movie. And we get a nice little creepy scene where she has this dream of her mom showing up to her house, all creeped out in the woods and stuff. I thought that was kind of cool.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And this is where I'll bring up Chris's comment from earlier. He said that this is by far the scariest Scream in the whole franchise. Agreed. You know what? I could agree to some contests, but I will definitely say one thing, Chris, that I agree that this particular scene was the scariest scene in the entire franchise. Because, man, Sydney's mom creeped me the fuck out.
It had a couple of moments of genuine horror. This is one, and then later too, when she sees her mom's murder scene in the set, which we'll get to in a little bit. I actually thought that one was even more effective than this, but but this is good. This is really good. It almost feels like a Nightmare on Elm Street to an extent, the original one. Ooh. It kind of had that same kind of vibe to an extent.
All right, I like that, dude. That's a very good comparison right there, because I definitely got some Nightmare on Elm Street-ish vibes right there. If, of course, Ghostface had to be a little bitch and ruin the dream sequence and popping out trying to slash at Sydney, we realized it was a dream. And then we get our first cast kill with Candy, man. Everybody loves Candy.
Yeah, this scene is one of the ones that could have been cut out of the movie entirely and nobody would have missed anything. Because Candy's a character that's not even in Stab 3. Oh, she's in the movie, but she's not based on anybody. So doesn't need to be in Stab 3, doesn't need to be in Scream 3. None of this really needs to be done. The kill wasn't great. It was a cool little effective moment when she's going over the script with Roman on the it actually was from with Roman on the phone. That was pretty cool. So I enjoyed that. But other than that, all this kind of just slowed the pacing down a little bit. It wasn't really needed. It was just a scene of an extra kill. And Scream isn't really known for kills, so I don't think you really ever need to
Carnage
force.
Candy.
You don't really need to force extra kills in a Scream movie because that's not what we're here for.
Yeah, exactly, man. I agree with that. Like we're getting a little bit what we call too fancy with the kills and all that, or like with the body count, that is. And also, like, just the only other thing I liked about this thing a little bit is they're like, of course, Scream. They love to make fun of things, and they made fun of like, is there's never been another damn rewrite and all that, because a lot of like actors and actresses get really pissed off with rewrites. So like I thought I just kind of like the nod in there with the rewrites.
Yeah. And I did like the scene too with when Ghostface was in the room of Ghostfaces. That this was the original Ghostface shrine. There was like 58 different uniforms in there or costumes, and he's in there as one of the on the rack of Ghostfaces, and he steps out. That was kind of cool.
Yeah, that was cool. Oh, you made Brother Flood piss off for some reason. Let's see here. Brad, how dare you? Candy was the glue that held this film together. I have no clue who Candy was.
Candy cane. That's who it is, man.
Cane.
Yeah, it was just pointless. The only thing that this added to the story was another picture of Maureen. This is really what got the investigation rolling. This is what got the movie officially canceled. Is when the cast member died. Stab 3 got canceled. I mean, within the movie, Scream 3.
Yeah,
So
and then
they
realize. Oh, sorry. And then we realize, like, after that there's a pattern with these killings, that they're going to go based off the script. And then, according to the script, the movie that is Stab 3, Gail dies, aka Parker Posey's character. So we get everybody bundled up at Parker Posey's house. Or I forgot her name, like in the actual movies. I'm just calling her Parker Posey. Yeah, Jennifer. Good call.
Yeah, they go back to her place, man. Dewey's got a trailer out back, man, because he's been her rock this whole time, man. He's that guy that's really providing value to her. And then she's got this bodyguard over there, played by the dude from Seinfeld. What was his name?
I got you right here. I'm looking right. Patrick Warburton.
Yeah, that's the guy, man. He's the one that called
Hey,
Dewdrop. Yeah,
the comments section's already gone crazy with the Hey Dewdrop.
I like this guy. This is another fun character in the movie.
Yeah, said, hey, he was a fun character.
You can't even be a cop anymore. How about you don't tell me what to do, because I'm better than you.
Yeah, so I've been a security guard for blah, 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 blah. So, yeah, you listen to me, like, dude, he's always such a who, like, hearing his voice, especially him just every time saying, hey, Dewdrop, I got your girlfriend. So it's a good time and all that. And then while that's going on, we're back at Sydney, like in the isolation area, and she gets a phone call. But she doesn't get a phone call from her work. She gets a phone call on her actual landline.
And it's from her mother. Boom, boom, boom. How crazy is that, man? And then obviously that turns into Ghostface's voice, and he's all like, hey, I know where you're at and all that stuff. And it kind of cuts away. We get to see that she's packing heat these days, man. She's got a nice revolver in her little table. But other than that, it cuts back to Jennifer's. Then I guess that night where they're trashing the script together. The whole cast is there. Everybody's there except for Roman, because he got arrested earlier because he was his voice was used to talk to Candy earlier, which not a good plan if you're the killer, but whatever. It's cool. They did arrest him, but then they later let him go, which we'll get to later because they tracked his phone number and all that fun stuff. But yeah, the rest of the cast is at Jennifer's, and they're trashing the script because the movie's off.
Yeah, and the movie, yeah, or you could say the movie has been sliced and all that. So we get all that, and then the security guy freaking checks out Dewey's camper for some reason. Phone call is like, "Well, what are you doing in my freaking trailer, man?" It's like, blah blah, or just say something like, just really dissing freaking Dewey's sister, which that's something you do not freaking do. You leave Tatum Rose's name out of your fucking mouth. And then of course Dewey gets. And then Ghostface pops out, angry, and freaking just freaking beats the living hell out of the security guard.
Yeah, it was a decent kill, man. Did freaking like slay him up pretty good in the trailer. The rest of the cast is in there in the house, and then here in a second, he comes like the dewdrop guy comes walking up, but he's got like a knife in his back and shit, and he's bleeding from the mouth. He falls in front of everybody and dies, and they all go into a panic at this point, a straight up bona fide panic.
Yeah, big panic. The lights go out, and then they were. This is a random ass scene right here. They're starting to get a fax of like, like what the
Facts
hell
are
is
stupid.
this? Oh, dude,
Yeah,
it's
that
not
was
it's not the greatest thing, but like with the dark and Dewey's actor role, decides to get a ladder, and then the fact said, "He who smells the gas," and then that's when we get this big gas. This is where the $40 million budget comes into play. It's this freaking house explosion, and everybody's freaking rolling down hills like they're going to Golden Corral, and man, dude, all kinds of chaos at this point.
Yeah, dude, that part was so dumb. Where they freaking the faxes come in. This is 2000, by the way, not 1993. If anything, they should have been exploring the email option, but faxes. Yeah, it was pretty silly. But yeah, they're trying to. The script is basically coming out, like you said. They all blow up. Everybody comes flying down the hill together. And yeah, it was cool. Dewey, Ghostface is at the bottom of the hill, kind of waiting on people to tumble down. He pops
I
up
can
behind
imagine
Gail.
Ghostface like.
He's just waiting down there. I was like, I don't even know how he orchestrated everything up there when he's down here. There's got to be a second killer somewhere, dude. But he does, in fact, show up down there. He pops up behind Gale. Dewey shoots his ass a few times, pretty effectively. He actually hits him a few times right in the chest. He busts the window out. He goes down under the car. And then, by the time they collect themselves, they find out that he vanished. He disappeared, dude. He's gone. He's Fine. He's out of there.
Yeah, he Vine, and then freaking Jennifer's all freaking pissed off, punches Dewey, and then Courtney punches Jennifer. Getting that third straight movie in the row where somebody's getting freaking punched in the face. My lawyer liked that. Not as much as I did. Yeah, so like we get all that, and it's just I also want to address this, like, because again, Brad, you kind of alluded to that there had to be two killers, which I'm gonna go ahead and let you know something. There were originally two killers in this movie, and Chris brought it up. I was trying to save it for later, but we'll address it now. Chris says, as we all know, most of the film was shot with Angela as the second killer, the one who's supposed to play Sydney in Stab 3. But they cut it at the last second if she was still a killer in this movie for you or no. I absolutely agree, because there had to be a second killer, because like Brad alluded to, one person had to send the facts and the other person had to do the killing. Definitely, I always thought, like originally when I first watched this movie for the first time, I thought Angelina was a killer.
Yeah, dude. I mean, they definitely set her up, because she's like, at one point she's in the bathroom. She's got the ghost face stuff on. She's crazy. Even in this scene, she pops up on the other side. So even then, like, is it possible for her to do it? Because she was there with everybody. So that doesn't really help. That doesn't really help the case. There's still somebody that needs to be sending faxes, because she was with everybody here in the sequence. She just pops off at the other side of the hill. She comes safely down the other side. And they're like, where the fuck did you come from? And so that was cool. But yeah, I mean, a couple things big to note here is that they found out, actually before the house exploded, they found out that Maureen spent some time in Hollywood. So they're kind of going to start investigating that. This is before the birth of Sydney, or before she even met the father. And then also too, the note that was left under the car after Ghostface was shot this time, which there was one. Dewey found it after they kind of got all their shit together. This one's claiming the kill of Maureen herself, which is actually really interesting, because we found out in the first movie that Billy killed Maureen. So now some other dude's coming around saying that I killed Maureen. And it's like, okay, we're going back to the original here, man. We're going back to the beginning. And that's exactly what you're supposed to do.
In a trilogy, absolutely. Even though I do have a problem with that, but we'll save that for the third act. Like for my particular thoughts on that, and then we get to the kind of like the sheriff's station and all that. You know, like freaking Dewey and Mark and Kay like, are just frustrated. They don't, or they're not even where close to capturing the killer. And Kincaid thinks it all leads to Sydney, and he needs to speak to Sydney. And then Dewey's like, "No, we need to keep her safe." And then he's like, "Okay, fine, I'll call her." And as soon as he calls her, guess who walks in the freaking door? How convenient, Sydney Prescott.
Yeah, dude, she did, man. She made the trip already. She made the trek. She was ready there. I wanted to pop in. Ashton said Roman was kind of a lame ghost face. We'll get to that here in a bit. But then
Yeah,
Chris
I actually
said,
disagree with that, but yeah, we will get to that.
Chris said if you look closely before that explosion, when everybody's holding hounds outside the house, she removes her hands, talk about Angelina, and walks in the opposite direction before the explosion. So it makes sense. It does.
Okay.
But still, somebody's got to be sending a fax somewhere, unless you had a fax in her pocket. But Antona said same thing. Why was the Angela cut as the second killer? I don't really know the reasoning, but I'm glad they
Yeah,
did,
it was just
honestly.
like a last minute decision, like with the script, because again, we were at that time where they're trying to keep the script like, you know, under wraps and not let it get out. Unfortunately, like how Scream 6 failed to do. But you know, like I don't know, it's just mainly a writer decision, and you could kind of tell that like it was built on two killers, but I felt like they kind of fixed it up nicely at the end, making it one killer.
I concur, man. I do. So then, okay, the gang after they show up at the police department, the gang all goes to the movie studio where they see Randy's sister Martha. She's there,
Yeah.
and she shows the gang this tape that Randy made while he was at Windsor College, and he did it in case he were to die during that murder spree.
Yeah, man, and that's always fun. I'm glad Randy got to at least do stuff in like in the third movie, because like you know, for him to be in all three movies. Because again, originally this was supposed to be just three movies only. So I'm glad he got to do this little role and all that, and explain to her how he lost his virginity. You know, putting up movies in porn saying shit. You know, shit happens. But that wasn't the main point of the video. The main point was he wanted to help Sydney in explaining the rules of a rarity that is called the trilogy. And he was starting to explain some of the rules of the trilogy, like how the killer is supernatural, like freaking you gotta explode it and all that. And then the second rule is that the main characters are no longer safe. That means even Sydney, which that is a great indicator. Like, man, this third act, like somebody want that one of these three major characters we've been following from the beginning could die. I felt like that was like a nice little like thing to put in your head in the third act.
I agree, man. I enjoyed the way they set that up, and again, it kind of sets up for all bets are off mentality here going in to the second half of the movie. So I really appreciate it for that quite a bit, man. And again, it's cool to see Randy, like you said. Gail and fake ass Gail, aka Jennifer, they go down into this building. They meet. They decide they're going to team up. They're going to work together because Gail, the fake Gail, doesn't want to die, and if she's with the real Gail, then the real Gail will be the target, so she'll be good to go. But they go into this room together and they find freaking Carrie Fisher cameo here. But it's not Carrie Fisher playing Carrie Fisher. It's Carrie Fisher playing what's her name?
Bianca Burnett.
Bianca Burnett that wants to that looks just like Carrie Fisher because they all think it is Carrie Fisher. And like, aren't you the girl from Star Wars? Like, no, that was the one that fucked George Lucas. That was Carrie Fisher. So it was like it was a fun moment. It was a good cameo for her too, especially coming in at 2000. It was really cool to see her. Just do a small role. I thought that was kind of fun.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll get to this thing in a little bit, but I'll address it because Cody Snyder's in the chat. What's going on, Cody Snyder? Saying Lance Hendrickson is always the best thing in the movie, especially Scream. Yeah, man, dude, he's such a freaking talented actor, very famous. And yeah, we'll be talking about some good old Lance here just in a minute. But before we do that, we kind of get a little bit of a throwback from the first movie with Cindy in the bathroom, hearing weird noises in the stall. Instead of running, she decides to freaking bang, freaking kick down the damn door. And guess who's there? It is Angelina with some freaking Ghostface merchandise.
No, dude, she's wearing Ghostface. Essentially, she's wearing the mask. She's not wearing the mask, but she's got the mask in her hand. She's wearing the pants and the boots and all that fun stuff. This is definitely setting you up to be Ghostface, if nothing else. But she's also like so just like weird that you could play that off. And she does. She's like, "Oh, I just wanted some merchandise because this could be the only role I ever get." And it's like, okay, whatever. But dude, this sets up a good moment, man. A lot. Not only was that a callback to the first movie, but she goes on to the set. Stu's house, her own house, is on set. This is where it gets meta as shit. Even the boat from Stu's house is out there.
And the details were excellent.
Yeah, great detail, man. So much detail. It's more detail than Jeff's dream that he had that he needed. A lot of detail, man. So yeah, but it's cool. But you get this moment where she goes back in her house. She goes up to her bedroom. The only thing that's changed is now there's a Creed poster in her room. The rest of it is perfect, man. Everything. She still has the double door lock mechanism, all that fun stuff. And they get to recreate. Ghostface shows up. And they get to recreate like her exact same like chase sequence from the first movie in her house. It was really cool. It was neat. It was a decent moment.
Yeah, I thought all that chasing was great too. And then like she tricked Ghostface like into falling from like the second floor to the first floor and all that. And she's all just freaking panicking like crazy, screaming for Dewey. And then you hear like, "Psst, hey, Sydney, come here. And then dadgummit, dude. Yeah, this is the scene you allude to, Brass. I'll let you freaking talk about it.
Yeah, dude, she goes into her parents' room. It's the crime scene from her mom's murder. It's fucking. There's blood everywhere. There's a body bag on the floor that supposedly has her mom in it. And then the body bag pops up in this scene, right? That's the part that's really creepy. Is the fact that she kind of walks through that to the window, and then the body bag kind of sits up. And that was creepy, dude. I actually think this is a very effective, scary, like psychological scary moment because you're talking about your mom's crime scene here. How fucked up that's going to make you is pretty intense. But man, I thought it was really effective, man.
Yeah, dude, it's so damn effective. And I agree with Chris Snyder at this particular time of the scene. There was definitely two killers in this scene. I absolutely agree. One had to be the body bag, and the other one that fell from the second floor to the first floor.
Yeah, dude, you would think, yeah. I mean, absolutely, it makes sense. That's another good example of that.
Yeah, go ahead and get that real quick while I work on this.
Okay. DJ Jodagod sent in $2. So for that, we will celebrate a little here.
There you go. Thank you, sir. There you go. There you go. There you go.
Much appreciated, DJ said. Very underrated film. Too bad many scenes were cut. That's true, man. It'd be cool to see what all was taken out of this.
Yeah, man. Do you know what this originally, like the original idea for Scream 3 was, Brad?
I know Stu was a part of the original idea.
It was supposed to be a cult, like a cult of Ghostface, and Stu being the leader of the cult and all that. It's kind of like similar to the idea that possibly Scream 6 might go to, but again, we don't know yet. We gotta go see the movie and find out. But yeah, man, I thought that idea was pretty cool, but again, it beats the whole purpose. Like, I'm sorry, guys, Stu's dead. I'll go ahead and just say that.
Deader than shit.
He's
got to be, dude. He had that TV thrown on his damn head.
And freaking stab all over the damn place. But yeah, DJ, thank you so much for the super chat, my friend. We include you on the scrolly thing at the bottom.
Yeah, much appreciated. I think, for sure, man. They go back to from here. They clear the house. Everything's fine. Everybody gets safe. Ghostface disappears, essentially. Next scene, they're back at the producer's office, which is Lance Hendrickson. He's like the main producer over this whole production. Gail shows up over there with fake ass Gail. They're trying to learn more about Marine, and they found out some troubling things about her time in Hollywood.
Well, hold on, man. They didn't were trying to figure out Marine. They were trying to think about Rena Reynolds.
That's true. Rena Reynolds. It was. That was her stage name. They learned that from Carrie Fisher's ass.
Yeah, man. And then, damn, where was Chris's comment from earlier? Where? Dang it. Oh, yeah, freaking, speaking of Jennifer's freaking stage name, it is Judy Jerkenstern, or however the hell do you pronounce that last name?
That was funny as hell, man. Yeah, dude. So this guy Lance has this fucking tanning bed in his office, which I thought, why not, man? You got to stay tan. But man, I mean, we just find out that Marine was essentially taken advantage of during her time in Hollywood through him. And honestly, I think this movie does a pretty good job of providing commentary on that true, unfortunately true aspect of Hollywood that women have always kind of had to deal with. So I thought that it was effective with that.
You're obsessed with her, and you're obsessed with her daughter. All right, calm your tits. Like, I love that scene. I'm telling you, Parker Posey is just a national treasure. What can I say?
Yes, she was fantastic, and yes, Lance is playing Harvey. That's essentially what it is. That's what this whole and it's weird seeing this come from a Weinstein production, but it's at the same time it's it's good. I mean, it's good to shed some light on it. So it was it was effective with that.
Yeah, definitely effective with that. And then we
the first
start.
movie,
We're getting ready to set up our third and final act. And how we set that up is Sydney goes back to the police station with Detective Kincaid. And then Dewey, Gail, and Fake Gail all were trying to go back to the police station, but they get a phone call from supposedly Sydney saying that they'll be at Roman's house because, again, Roman's having his birthday party there. So we're all going to a freaking birthday party, man.
Yeah, dude. And that scene with Kincaid and Sydney together was pretty good. I like that whole thing. Like, oh, we we're hunting a real life killer. It's not a ghost. I know that now.
Or
So
what's
that's
your
good
favorite
news.
scary movie? My Life.
Yeah. Same here. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was good. It was a nice
dude.
moment for them.
Yeah, dude, it was a great time. I think, yeah, we're at the freaking Roman's house, the freaking party, man. Which, if y'all paid attention, man, at the freaking Roman's house, you kind of will see something familiar. But I'm not going to give too much away with it because that is a trivia question for tomorrow. I don't want to give you the answers here.
No, you don't want to give the answers, or maybe for those who watch the Scream 3 review gets rewarded when they go into trivia.
That's true.
But yeah, so yeah, Dewey and Gail and the other Gail, they get that call from Sid, so to speak, saying, "Hey, come over to Romans. We're hanging out. We're having a good time." So they do show up there. Most of the cast is there. They're all having a good time, and they kind of split up. They're looking for this, secret screening room. The rest of them go off looking for that. Dewey, Gail, and Gail, they're like, "We're gonna wait back, and we're gonna wait for Sydney to show up because we want to hang out with her." Actually, it was just Dewey and Gail, I think. So that was cool, man. They do that. They do that. They do.
They do drop.
And no, yes, it's not Roman's house. Good point, bud. It's the producer's house, but it's Roman's birthday party.
Oh, okay. Sorry. My apologies on that one. I could have sworn that was Roman's house, but you know what? Yeah, Roman is a first-time director, so yeah, that wouldn't make sense for him to have a big house, fancy house like that yet.
Yeah. They're it is his party though, so it might as well be his house for that night.
Dude, that was it. That's what I was thinking. It's Milton's house, Lance Hendrickson's house.
Yes. Let's see. So yes.
But yeah, and that's when Gail and Dewey found the Ghostface mask with the voice changer, and they figure out the big thing with that. And then yeah, they're pretty damn scared because Ghostface is in the building.
What a stupid hiding spot for all that shit too. What the hell? They should have just taken the mask at that point. Then they, Ghostface wouldn't have been able to hide himself from here on out. They'd be safe. But yeah, so they find Roman dead as shit in the casket downstairs in the basement. Or do they? I don't know. We will see. But yeah, he looked pretty dead. He had a knife in his chest and all that stuff.
Yeah, they really good effects from the whole Roman kill, or supposedly at this time the Roman kill. So I thought that was a nice thing to kind of throw us off of, like luring our suspects and all that. So I thought all that was really cool. And dadgummit, Chris. Fun fact: the same mansion was also used as part of the campus in H2O just 2 years earlier. Yeah, good man, Chris. That is very true.
That is a very true statement. But yeah, so man. So a lot of stuff goes on. That happens. They find dead Roman. Dewey gets punched by Ghostface. They all kind of get slayed at one time. It's the other characters are getting killed kind of one off at a time. So that was pretty good. And I actually thought this Ghostface throughout this third act was pretty badass. I thought he was kicking a lot of ass.
Yeah, he was kicking a lot of ass, indeed. And then, so I'm trying to think what happened here next. Sorry, Brett had to take a break. Kyla was not agreeing with our opinion of this movie. So yeah, a lot of stuff is going on. Jennifer is behind kind of like this like secret room of screen and all that, and Dewey is shooting the windows and all that. Unfortunately, he was late. Jennifer does get got, and another cast member gets got here, and then Gale and Ghostface take a little tumble down in the basement area, and then Gale had to call kind of like Dewey and be like, Dewey, I'm in the bottom of the basement with Ghostface. Help me here. Is it? Oh, wait a minute. How do I know this is or the real Gale? Dewey, you dumbass. Get me out of here. But, like, all that is funny. And then, dude, Brad, I know this is your favorite scene right here. Freaking Ghostface chucking the freaking knife right at freaking Dewey's head.
Dewey does decide, I'm going to go ahead and open the door, dude. He kicks it open, and Ghostface at the bottom of the stairs. He was knocked out cold before. He chucks the knife at Dewey's head. And it was actually a hell of a good throw, but the only problem is the handle hit his head and not the knife itself. So then Dewey just kind of gets knocked out and falls down the stairs as well.
Yeah, and then that is where we go back to the detective station. And then we get a phone, or Sydney gets a phone call from, oh my God, Sydney. So two Sydneys are freaking talking at once, but all Hurricane we know is freaking Ghostface. Ghostface is threatening Sydney that you need to come over and freaking join this freaking birthday party right now, or Dewey and Gale are gonna die.
Oh yeah, dude. And she does. She does show up. She goes up there. She was told to come alone, which she did. She gets there. There's the metal detector out by the pool, and Ghostface is like, "Hey man, run that over your body, all of your body." And she does, and she grabbed a gun before she left, so she takes that out and she chucks it in the pool per Ghostface's instructions. She comes in to try to save Dewey and Gale, who are tied up in these chairs and shit, and she takes the gag off of Dewey and stuff, and then Ghosty shows up. He pops up behind her. And then she pulled the fast one because she actually had two guns on her. She had her own gun. The second one was a decoy, so Ghostface did not see that coming. He got blown away right in the chest a few times again for the second time in this movie.
Here's my brother, you son of a bitch. Oh man, dude, that was so cool. Like, that's such a badass moment for a final girl in Sydney. And then we realize again, Randy explained the rules of the trilogy, man. The freaking killers are supernatural. Ghostface is gone, out of here. Sara Nara, man. If Sydney's trying to hunt down Ghostface and for some reason finds this room and she gets freaking trapped in it, deadgummit, we get freaking Marine Prescott's freaking body bag again.
Yeah, and Kincaid showed up as well. Actually, right before all of that, and he actually sacrificed himself for Sid before she shot Ghostface. He jumped in front of her and took a couple stabs, and he's all kind of broken up now, but he's still alive. He's hanging on. But then, yes, Sid goes into the secret room. She gets trapped in there. The killer shows up, and it's like this pretty epic reveal. It's got this he's got a projector popped up on screen. He's got video of her mom up there, like going to these hotel rooms and stuff. I mean, it's really the reveal of all reveals. He takes the mask off and it's Roman, and it's like, what the fuck? You were such a random character. This is weird. Who cares about Roman? And plus, you were dead or shit a few minutes ago in that casket downstairs. He said, you know what? I'm a director and brother. And reveals himself to be Sydney's brother, and that he was actually a child of Marines before, she ever went off and met Sydney's father. And basically he was left by her and never met her before, and he showed up a few years prior and she wanted nothing to do with her. So he actually killed Marine. So I actually thought this was a really cool reveal, Birdie.
Yeah, well, actually, he didn't really kill Marine. What he did was he kind of, again, he's a director. He directs things. So, like, he's been noticing that Marine was with Cotton, and then Marine was freaking having an affair with Billy Loomis's father. And then Billy, and it's like, yeah, I showed Billy that footage. He didn't like that very much. Gave him a few pointers, and then, yeah, I just sent him along his merry way. Just never thought he would make a movie out of it, and all that. And that's kind of like where we all learned that freaking Roman was the mastermind behind like Billy and Stu freaking killing a Marine Prescott, which I'm going to go ahead and let you know right now. I'm not the biggest fan of that. I understand why they had to do it that way, like to kind of like complete the trilogy and all that. But that just really, in my opinion, undermines Billy and Stu and what they did in the first one.
Yeah, I could see that, man. I could, because they were solid, and I mean, Stu was never a mastermind of anything, which again is why he should never show up.
That's very true.
And he was just there, and even Roman even says that he was just a dude that he was gonna frame for the murders if he got caught. Billy was, but I don't mind it, man. I like the way it kind of goes back to the beginning, and I like this reveal. I think it's really personal. having that, it feels like it's a Star Wars damn story or something crazy, but at the same time, it gives it that personal flair. And another thing I really like about this is the fact that there is only one killer. It's the only movie in the franchise at this point. There's only been one killer. It's super intimate. It's super personal. I like that. It makes it makes Ghostface feel more like its own character, I guess, as opposed to there being two of them running around. I like the fact that there's only one. I think that's a really cool story point. I wish they would do that again.
Yeah, and you know what? We might get it again with Scream 6. You never know, man. Again, we got Scream 6 a couple of weeks away. But yeah, just to kind of wrap this up, Roman's big plan is that he's got he's got the producer of Milton, Les Hendricks's character, and he's got the voice recorder of Sydney's voice saying, like, I'm going to make you pay. And then he kills the freaking Lance. So RIP Lance in this movie. If Sydney's just at this point where she's freaking had enough of this bullshit, she's ready to fight, and this is where we, in my opinion, get the best third act in the Scream franchise.
I would agree, man. Their fight is pretty epic, and it starts with them screaming at each other, telling each other to fuck themselves or fuck you. That was good, man.
Fuck you.
Yeah, it was good. And they duke it out, man. They straight duke it out. They go mano a mano there. Sydney was badass, and their dialogue together at the end, towards the end of their fight. That I like that line too, where I guess he lost his something or whatever, and she's like, hey, you lose something? He's like, no, I found something, and blew her away a couple times with the gun that that Patrick Dempsey brought into the room, because he ended up randomly coming in there, even though he used to be with Dewey and Gale. I don't know, it was weird, but he got knocked out pretty much immediately, and then Ghostface took his gun and then shot Sydney with it. But turns out she was wearing body armor too. She got it from the police department.
Yeah, we get all that freaking in, and Gale and Dewey are trying to get into the room, and they cause such a little bit of a distraction. Then when Roman turned around, yeah, Sydney's gone, and then it was a race of Star 6'9". Sydney wins that freaking race first, and then freaking stabs Roman with what? A freaking ice pick. And you cannot tell me that freaking ice pick was a nod to Sharon Stone.
That's perfect, isn't it? And here's my one issue with this whole third act is the fact that it doesn't end with this. It should have been she stabs him with that, holds his hand, he dies, and then you get that line when Dewey comes in, oh, be careful, they always come back, and then she's like, there's nothing supernatural about this guy or whatever. She says that there wasn't anything superhuman about him. She gets up and walks off. That should have been the end. Dewey steals her kill, dude. This is supposed to be the most personal Ghostface end the trilogy, and Dewey steals that from her, and I really don't like that. He pops back up for one final scare yet again, a trope we saw in the first two movies. And we're seeing it again here. He gets blown away, and it's ridiculous because he's just getting shot, and he doesn't he just keeps coming, which was stupid until he gets shot in the head. That whole scene wasn't needed. They should have just left him dead from the ice pick. That would have been cool as hell.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that. Like, especially this is your third and final movie. Supposed to, again, at the time, your last movie within this trilogy. Yeah, that would have been more like what we call impactful and more important. But yeah, you're kind of right, Brad. Dewey definitely stole Sydney's kill at this point. So I never really thought about that before, but that was a really strong point.
I think they should have just ended that right after he says, yeah, I still get to make my movie. Yeah, what was it called? Stab 3 with the third stab. Like, that was pretty cool. But yeah, I totally, I totally think that he jacked it from her.
Yeah, definitely jacked it. And then, of course, we get Rebecca Sydney's isolation house and all that. Dewey proposes to Gale, and they're going to try to figure it out whether they're actually meant to be together or not. They get their moment, and then Sydney being all happy, and then Mark Kincaid is randomly at the house saying, "Hey, we're about to watch a movie. What kind of movie? You'll just have to come and find out," which I do like that line a lot, especially with the movie.
Fucking stupid, dude.
I kind of liked it. I don't know why. And then, of course, the door freaking blows open, and that kind of supposed to symbolize that that's Maureen Prescott's spirit saying, "You did good, kid. You did good." And the movie ends.
That was so stupid. First off, why was Patrick Dempsey even there? He was all broken up and whatnot, and they were all just kind of hanging out. Hey, come on, Sid. He's got the popcorn. He's like, hey, come watch a movie. What kind of movie?
You give me a bowl of popcorn. I freaking join you on the couch.
That was just such a silly line. I hated that. But the ending was cool. It was cool seeing Gale and Dewey getting engaged. That was kind of cool.
Especially they were married in real life at this point too.
Yeah, that was neat.
Yeah. So
I'm
guys,
gonna
that was
start calculating this.
yeah. Go
Poll
ahead,
if you want
start
to just.
calculating. I'll get the chat here for a minute. Let's go with Ashton's comment here. First thing, what held Roman's Ghostface back for me is when he was shown to be the mastermind behind Bailey and Stu's killing. Yeah, kind of like I alluded to earlier. Not a fan when movies do that. The showdown was pretty cool. Yeah, definitely the showdown was pretty cool, and I kind of do agree with you. I thought it kind of like just hurts, damages a little bit what Bailey and Stu did in the first one. But I kind of agree with Brad from a story perspective. This does make sense, and you have to kind of like build up the Roman character of why he was a serious threat when he again directed all of this.
Yeah, dude, I agree.
And then Cody says, I was more bothered by Cotton Staff and Randy's. Randy got the aliens line wrong in two. Yes, he certainly did. But yeah, Cotton Staff, yeah, I kind of wish they could have used him more. Like, why couldn't he be a part of this group? So yeah, I kind of agree with you there. And Chris Snyder says, my favorite thing is, oddly enough, him being the only one who kept the costume on. I want them all to do that. Yeah, that's actually a great point as well, too, Chris, that Roman was the first Ghostface to stay in the Ghostface outfit.
That's true. I like that too.
And Chad, what's going on, man? Cotton is the man. Dude, that's 100% Cotton. So let's see here. Anybody? Oh, let's get Gavin's comment here. They need to stop doing the killer pop-ups at the end now. It's overdone. Yeah, but I was think at the exact same time though, that's a part of Scream's charm within the franchise and what they're known for doing. So I don't mind them doing it, but I feel like in Scream 6, with how like the whole tone and atmosphere that movie is supposed to be, I think that's when they're finally going to stop doing that particular thing. So you might get your wish on that one, Gavin, with the 6th one. So let's see here. And Roman had hands. What in the world? Man, DJ, that's funny. Let's see here. Stu and Mickey would be the hardest ones to oppose. Let's see here. Let me see if that tied in. Oh, and what's going on, Twin C? Let me get your comment real quick. I just rewatched Scream 4 last night. Hell yeah, man. Next Sunday, we're going to talk about Scream 4, so be sure to tune in to hear our thoughts about Scream 4.
Absolutely.
And let's see here.
Right,
Brad, you good to go?
all good, man.
All righty. Let's see here. Let me get there. Your results here, Brad. Let's talk about our final thoughts and let's do our own movie rating.
Yeah, let's do this. I actually think Scream 3, again, kind of like the first two movies. I remember when this one came out. I was about 10 years old. I watched this movie along with the first two movies constantly. This was always kind of a cool one for me to watch just because at the time I loved the Creed stuff. I loved the voice changer. I always thought that was cool as a kid in particular. And just how kind of crazy this movie gets. I was always a fan of it. It always had that bigger budget feel. So yeah, it definitely still has nostalgia for me as well. It's something, that still kind of always brings me back to my childhood. And I actually, this time through, I really didn't mind the movie that much at all. I actually quite dug it. It's definitely not as good as the first two, but it's one that, it's still directed by Wes Craven. You can feel every bit of that. So I don't know if I'm quite going to give it a 4, but I'm going to give it a 3.75, I think.
3.75, dude. Not a bad rating at all, my friend. I thought you would actually, in my opinion, I thought you were going to give it a 3 out of 5. But hey, I'll take it a 3.75, man. Good for you, dude. Just to make math easy, too, I was going to give it a 3.5. But after talking about it today, I'll go ahead and move it up to the 3.75. I still have a really good time with this movie. Definitely, to me, possibly might be the weakest in the franchise. But you know what? I'll rewatch Scream 4 and make that final decision then. It's between Scream 3 and Scream 4 for me. But I still have a good time with this. We get good characters to make this film fun. And I will give Scream 3 one thing, is that this is definitely one of the most unique Scream movies within the franchise. So I, again, have a good time with it. 3.75 out of 5.
Hell yeah, man. What's that score going to be?
All right, I got it right here. That is going to be a freaking Dance with Jimbo. So let me get that clip ready. So here it is. Dance with Jimbo, guys.
Oh, let's see what the fan score here is going to be. Again, this is by horror fans for horror fans.
Oh,
I
did you
polled a
get
bunch
my
of people.
poll?
Yes, I got it. It's all good.
Okay, good.
Yeah, we're good to go here, ladies and gents. Here's how you guys graded Scream 3 here today. And drum roll, here we are. The scare scores. We polled 70 something people on Killer Flicks, and according to horror fans, 75% of them like Scream 3. Might be our lowest scare score yet, but still much better than the Rotten Tomato score for this movie. And I think this is very well aligned. You guys in this room here tonight voted this movie to be a very low but still very valid B minus. So there it is, man. B minus average rating, man. I like that.
Yeah, and I'll go ahead and say, like, this doesn't surprise me. This is kind of like what I figured this movie would get from the horror fans. So 75% is still a really good score just to say, hey, this movie is definitely well worth watching. So I'm actually still happy with these numbers because it could have easily been worse, and it might actually be worse next week. We'll have to find out.
And what's interesting is if the worst movie for all intents and purposes in your franchise is a 75% with a B minus, you're doing pretty damn good. Yeah, man. I like that.
Yeah, I agree. Speaking of one of the big Scream fans that I know is Moser Movie Reviews. This is Chase. What's going on there, Chase?
Oh, hello and welcome, my friend.
Oh, man. Let's get some scores right here. Of course, Chad gives a perfect golden reel, 5 out of 5. Hell yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Chris gives it a 4.5 out of 5. Nice. DJ a 3 out of 5. So, damn good scores here.
Nice. Very nice. I like it.
Yeah, and King
divisive.
Moore, hello there, my friend, your highness, saying, hey, yo, totally late to the party. I voted C. I'm fighting against it growing on me, but dang it, the angle's not as bad looking back. Hell yeah, man. You know what? Sometimes it's cool for movies like to sway your opinion like that.
Yeah, man, I agree. I think it's awesome.
Hell yeah. So, Brad, let's say what's coming up on the channel. We'll get these people find out here to enjoy the rest of their evening and night.
Sounds good, Joey.
All right. He calls me Joey. But tomorrow we will be releasing our video for Scream 3 Trivia Challenge, man. So far, we're having a really good time with this. And we've seen that you guys are too. So we'll continue it to finish out the Scream franchise before we decide whether we're going to keep this Trivia Challenge series going. But tomorrow is Scream 3 Trivia Challenge. It'll drop somewhere around the afternoon tomorrow. And Brad, what are we doing Wednesday here?
Dude, we're going to be doing a real story based on a real story for Cocaine Bear, which comes out this week. And yeah, it's a fun story, man. So be there for that. And this was Chris, you're in the chat. This was Chris Snyder's idea, actually, a few weeks ago. He brought this up in the chat and we said, you know what? Good idea, Chris. I like that.
Thanks, Dennis. Evan, Miss Carter, I saw you in the chat. Hello there, Miss Carter. Thank you for saying hello before we wrap things up. Evan, of course, Thursday is our big 1K edition of Flicks with the Fellas. This is a Flicks with the Fellas that you all voted on with our poll way back when, and y'all voted The Shining. So we're going to be freaking having The Shining watch party on Thursday, and we did decide a time. We are doing it at 8 o'clock Eastern time on Thursday.
Hell to the yeah, man.
Yes, sir. So, Brad, anything else you want to say about freaking Scream 3?
No, man, that's about it. I think I feel good about it. I'm glad that I enjoyed it this time around, and hopefully, it sticks. I haven't enjoyed it that much since I was a youngling, so I had a good time with it.
Not even the younglings survived. But yeah, man, I had a really good time with this too. I'm having such a blast with the Scream franchise. We got Knockdown 3. We got 2 more to go. Guys, we got like 2 weeks left before Scream 3, like 2 to 3 weeks left, man. This is really it's really coming down to the wire, my friends. And lastly, I do want to address this because unfortunately, Drum Dums got spoiled today or got spoiled recently. And same thing with Dead Meat. They got spoiled for Scream 6. So please, like Twitter, Facebook, even YouTube comic sections, be very careful. The spoilers are out there. Please be careful.
Yeah, dude. Keep an eye out. Actually, you don't want to keep too close of an eye because then, well, it's hard. Just don't do
We
it.
know what you mean, Brad.
Yes.
But yeah, but no, we know what you mean. But yeah, so guys, just be careful. But we will do everything we can on the good, real side of things within our community to make sure that does not happen. I'll even offer my sacrifice as tribute, if it needs to happen that way. So you don't have to worry about us.
Yeah, man. You got it.
All right, so guys, we're going to go ahead and get out of here. We appreciate you voting. Brad will post the results on our community stuff. So we are going to get out of here, and we will see you. Let's see here, premiere Wednesday and live stream Thursday. We'll see you guys then.
Peace out.